Morning. Well, it's actually afternoon. BJ and I are hauling some grain. He's bringing the red Kenworth over here now. It actually takes government juice, so we got to fill it up. We cleaned out a bin this morning, but we didn't film any of that, so we're just going to haul some grain. Well, BJ's going to take off. Nephew Landon's about to crap his pants. So I thought that would embarrass him, but I don't think it did. So we're gonna haul out of the new bins over here. This is where we were cleaning out a bin. We basically transferred all the corn we had in the smaller bin into the bigger bin. And now we gotta pull out it. So one thing I gotta do before we start up, this auger from number 4 bin, which is where all the corn is, has a hole we cut in it last year when this auger plugged up. So you gotta tape it. Not a permanent fix, but it'll work. Otherwise, when we start it, it's just gonna spew corn right there. Just gotta find some tape. No tape. Where's the tape? Gotta change bins that we're going to. So that pulley that we were just pulling on, that moves the distributor up there. So up there where the leg goes up, there's a pipe that the grain's in, and it can rotate around to each downspout. So that's what we were doing. We were changing the downspout to go to this pipe right there. It's the truck's underneath of. So now we're ready to load out. Alright, everything's turning. I'll be darned, the black truck started. Now it does have new batteries, so maybe that's why. Alright guys, we got a few loads of grain hauled. BJ and I both took kids to football practice. It's 7:30. I'm going to mow. So, gotta mow when you can. Mowing's not that important, but I can't stand the place not looking good, so we're going to mow. So, brought the trailer over, got the cub. I mowed some before football. We'll finish mowing now and take the mower home. So we're done mowing for the night. We got everything done just in time. You know, this is the first time I've been over here since our electrician wired up our new lights. So I'm gonna run over here and take a look at those real fast. Also, got some lights in the corner of the hoop barn. I installed those. Let me tell you what, it was a big to-do to install these. I'm just good. So see, what I did was, went to Harbor Freight, and I bought some of these landscape solar lights, and I noticed that this piece of metal had a little spot right there to bolt something to. So I just stuck that thing there, and it's good to go. So if you'd like to hire my electrical services, email's in the description. So over here, this yellow hue you're seeing, that's the old light that's been there for, well, it was there when I bought the property. So that's why that looks yellow. Over here is one of the new LEDs that we just put in. A little bit brighter than the old ones. The old ones were that color, so much better looking light. Still haven't wired up the new floodlight. I did get the replacement in the mail the other day. If you missed that video, when the electrician came in, we wired up a 400 watt LED floodlight up there. It was labeled wrong. It was labeled as a 240 volt light. That's how he wired it up, and it burned up. It's actually a 110, so we got the new one in the mail. So let's check those lights. Haven't seen those yet. Ooh, they look very bright. Yeah, I might have to adjust them a little bit to kind of shine in here a little bit too. But yeah, that's pretty good. So we've had lights in the drive-through. We had those during harvest, but we didn't have anything on the ends, and especially on that far end, it was very dark. So just went ahead and put a light shooting straight down. Yeah, I think we need to tip them out a little bit. They're kind of pointing into the building a little bit too far. It's kind of dark out here during harvest. So yeah, I'll adjust the angle of that light next time we have the telehandler over here. But with all of them on, it's very bright in here. Yep, lights are up pretty good. And once that light heats up, we'll have all the harvest lights on, minus the one we don't have wired up yet. So that one, right, that'll be wired there, it should light up all of this pretty well, is kind of my thought. Electrician said we must be scared of the dark. I was like, no, I just want it to be daylight 24/7 during harvest, that's all. So one thing this LED security light's doing is it's a little bit brighter than the old one, and it's actually lighting up the dryer a little bit. This is the only dark spot we still have over here. We do have some lights in the building that we're eventually going to hang up on the eaves of this carport. The dryer is really the only dark spot we got left over here. And that light, when we get it, might brighten that up to where we don't need a light over there. Well folks, that's it for this video. One thing happened the other day. I had some footage of me running the sprayer, and then later on in that day, Bushel Billy came out and we scouted some corn, learned a few things. Unfortunately, I lost the SD card that had the first half of that day's footage on it. So the only thing I have left is Bushel Billy talking to me about some corn. So I'm going to put that in here just because it was good, useful information. Every time Bushel Billy comes out, I learn things. I really enjoy walking fields with him, except for the walking in the cornfield part. But anyways, we're going to put that in here, and that'll be the end of the video. So just getting in, and as soon as I walked in the door, Bushel Billy called. So Bushel Billy is here. He's actually one of our Monsanto reps for the area. He's been kind of keeping an eye on our 300 bushel field, checking on it every now and again. So just kind of seeing how it's looking, how it's faring this heat. It's definitely getting the heat units right now. Personally, I think he's nuts walking out there today. I'm using these kids as an excuse to not chase him. So we'll just wait here and see what he sees. So Bill survived his venture into the oven.
Good looking corn, except for the burn on the leaves.
Yeah. So if you missed a few videos back, a nutrient agronomist walked this field, and when we made our plan, we were going to have some wide drop nozzles, and we didn't, and we burnt some leaf matter. But Bill was saying most of it is below the ear leaf.
Yes.
Hey Dax, quit screaming. That ear looks like it's missing some.
A little awkward. I love the color this early on.
What does that mean?
Which means it's filling nice and slow.
Okay.
Packing in test weight. Just starting to dent, so we got about another 35 days of grain fill left.
Okay.
Assuming we catch some rain and it cools off a little.
So we got another 30 days till this corn's made.
Yeah. 30 days to get kernel depth and weight in the kernels.
So when he says it's starting to dent, this is yellow dent corn. You can kind of see. That's why it's called yellow dent corn.
As the kernels dry, that dent becomes deeper. And so right now we're at 55% moisture. In 35 days we will be at 32% moisture.
Now you're saying that based on just because it's starting to dent, that's typically about the moisture we're going to be at. So this is definitely too wet to combine.
Yeah.
That one looks like a lot fuller ear.
They're both 20 around. Good looking ears.
20 around's pretty good, ain't it?
Yes, 37 long, 20 around.
I thought 40 was a good, 40 to 44 was what we were looking for.
But you got an extra 4 rows.
Yeah, okay. Short and fat story of my life.
Already got good kernel depth there, Brian. Look at that.
So of all the extra goodies that we've been adding onto this field, what all have you seen that's like probably, what all has it been aiding, I guess?
So the first yield factor is number of plants per acre, right?
Right.
And that was determined by the planting conditions. We were missing a few plants. We covered that
Yeah.
a couple months ago. And
So
then,
we ended up emerging about 32.5 out of the 36 we planted, I believe.
So not terrible, but just a little lighter. The next thing the plant determines is how many rows around. And that happens when the plant's about this tall with 5 leaves. And this, being 20 rows around, was very, very happy.
Yeah, okay.
Corn.
So that diameter, that's going back to fertilizer early and
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Fertilizer and moisture at a good time.
Early season stress, when the plant's small, you may only see 12 or 14 rows. And so the fact we got that many rows around means it was happy early on. And then to have kernel depth that deep when we're just starting the dent phase, this has already packed an awful lot of starch in these kernels. And in the next 35 days, it'll continue to add depth to the kernel and weight to it. So now all that extra micronutrients and feeding and all the extra love and attention goes to making these kernels as long and deep as possible and as heavy as possible.
Okay.
So these are about twice as deep as what we would expect, and I think that's from the extra attention in Scotland.
So we've already made the grain that we're going to make, but right now we're just packing on weight.
Yep. So we know how many plants we got, we know how many rows around, we know how many kernels long. It's just a matter of how heavy we can make it.
Okay.
So standard, we estimate 90,000 kernels in a bushel, a 56-pound bushel. The guys that win the yield contest, they can drive that number as low as 65,000 kernels in a bushel.
So that's all from test weight and ear depth,
Yep.
or kernel depth.
That's what we've been talking about here.
So how does that ear there stack up to like something you would see in there?
We're got a great start of driving that number down at least into the 80s.
Okay.
And having good 60 pound corn.
So what's the weather the next few weeks going to play? Like, if we don't get any rain, I'm guessing we're going to stop driving test weight.
Yeah. So half of the way to the ear is still yet to be determined, and we need mass flow from rain to add that extra weight. Now the corn plant will start reorganizing resources to make these kernels heavy, but they'll do it at the expense of these kernels.
So we're going to start aborting this kernel.
It'll start tipping back, yeah.
Okay. So I know like a lot of guys think that if they dodge pollination heat, get a rain first part of August, the corn's pretty well made, but that's far from the case.
Over 40% of your yield is determined after pollination. After blister, we still got 40% to go.
So that's one of the fun things we've had with this project is we've walked this field enough so we're able to determine, like Bill's telling us, that 20 years or that 20 kernels around. Well, we know why that 20 kernels was around there, and if it would have only been 12, we would have realized that we must have been dry or we missed some nitrogen that should have been applied, and it's just kind of fun trying to figure this out.
Right.
So what do you know about beans?
Not a thing.
Oh, man.
No.
Don't forget to thumbs up the video, leave us a comment, and we'll see you in the next one. We are going to be at the Farm Progress Show at the end of the month, so if you see us walking around or driving around in the golf cart, say hi, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.